Frank Reich, the head coach of the Colts, told Albert Breer of SI.com that until they found out Carson Wentz was going to be available, what they were doing was focusing on drafting their future quarterback. And, Ballard himself said last year, late in the season, that you don't just draft a first-round quarterback to draft a first-round quarterback.
Right.
I mean, they would have to feel good about their options. And because they were a playoff team, they're down in that range where the best are going to be gone unless they're planning some move or would have been planning some move up in the draft. So it's easy to say that now that they have Wentz. I just don't know that they would have definitely gotten someone that they would have felt good about.
Right.
But they definitely feel good about Wentz. You got Jim Irsay, the owner of the team, all fired up and talking about a golden era of Colts football. They've gone from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck and now Carson Wentz. And Irsay always gets excited about the possibilities. They only got one Super Bowl win over the last 20-plus years, though. And, we'll see if Carson Wentz gets them closer to one starting this year, Chris.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think Chris Ballard and Frank Reich certainly would have been doing their homework on trying to draft a quarterback, the next guy or whatever it is. But you're right. Where they were in the first round, it's going to be tough. They'd probably have to make a move or hope somebody fell to the second round, and then maybe they could trade up then, do something like that. But, this is a guy Frank Reich has firsthand experience with. He loved him coming out of the draft. Of course, he was a big part of them drafting him in Philadelphia, and he got to see the makeup of the guy altogether, let alone he got to see the guy do some special things. Again, I know Carson Wentz, it hasn't been perfect. It has not. He's definitely had some of his own issues, but they have done him no justice in the way they've played or set up their team the last few years either. It didn't really fit Carson Wentz, and it didn't help accentuate his strengths and what he can do as a football player. Honestly, the way their offense was last year, they were better off with Jalen Hurts at the end of the year. Oh, no receivers, we can't throw it. Let's get a running quarterback, move the pocket, do those type of things, quarterback design runs. That honestly fit their team better. But whether you go back to 2019 and that end of the season run they had to get in the playoffs at 9-7, you have to be crazy to not watch that and think, oh man, that was special. It was a bunch of no names and Carson Wentz at quarterback. He carried them into the playoffs. And then, as we've said many times, we've seen him play at an MVP caliber level consistently through, 14 weeks of a year, 13 weeks of a year that year when they went to the Super Bowl. So, that's where I think Frank Reich buys into the Carson Wentz, let alone he knows his system and his players are better than what Wentz had in Philadelphia and fit Wentz better. And I think that's where it has a chance to be special.
And that's exactly what Reich told Breer, looking at those games at the end of the 2019 season when the Eagles were 5-7. They had to win out, and he had no help around him, and he did. Now, I still would want to reconcile that with what happened last year. But as I've said all along, Reich is in a unique position where he can talk to Doug Peterson and find out what happened. He can talk to Carson Wentz and find out what happened. And yes, their versions may be distinct. Every sitcom that ever makes it past 5 or 6 seasons seems to inevitably have one of those episodes where something happened and the first act is one person's version, the second act is the other person's version, and the third act is exactly what happened. It's for Reich to figure out act 3 of exactly what happened, but he has access to both of the guys who were on either end of whatever triggered that relationship to fall apart in Philadelphia. So Reich's smart enough to understand. He's an old timer, Pete. He's smart enough to figure out what went on and how to make it work going forward. So wise beyond his years, as Pete would say. That's from page 73 of the Sims' book.
The other thing too, Mike, again, all you got to do is look at the stat sheet from the Eagles last year. That's all. That's the first thing you can do as a basic fan and just go, wait, who led the team in receptions? And wait, who's this guy? What that guy did? Greg Ward. Greg Ward, Fulgham, Dallas Goedert, who was hurt for a period of the year. Jalen Reagor, which was a bad first-round pick by the Eagles to this point. There's nothing there that says, oh, man, he really left a lot out of there. Man, that Eagles offense, it should have been top 5, but Carson Wentz messed it up. Bull crap. That offense stunk. I don't know anyone to say that either. Did Carson Wentz compound it by trying to do too much and to try to, he tried too hard to carry the football team, I think, like he did in those last 4 weeks to go to the playoffs in 2019? Yeah, I do. I think he fell a little bit into the trap of, I'm going to make magic happen. I'm going to hold the ball forever. I'm going to smash this ball into here and do a tight window. And it compounded itself. But I don't think it takes away from the talent the guy still has. And, I think Frank Reich sees something within the human being, too, that can make him successful, too.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.